We're going to spend the next 15 minutes focusing on your flexibility. One of the first things that I want you to do is a little flexibility test so that at the end of the 15 minutes, we can actually see how much we've progressed. And then imagine if you did it every single day and progressed that little bit more every single day. So the first thing I want you to do is start with your feet hip width apart. And we're going to drop the shoulders forward, have a little bit of a wiggle to relax, drop your chin to the chest, and then slowly rolling your body forward, letting your back really relax and your hands flop down. I want you to see how far you can actually go to touch either your shins, below your knees, or some of you might even be able to touch your toes. Now, the important thing is that you keep your legs straight. So I don't want you bending to try and touch your toes that way, but actually bending forward with the legs straight. And we're reaching forward as far as you possibly can with the legs straight. I want you to remember how far you've gotten, or perhaps even take a photo to see what your maximum reach is here for your flexibility. Coming up very slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, and of course if you feel any pain or discomfort, then you shouldn't be doing it. But one of the important things to remember is that you need to step out of your comfort zone in order to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So get uncomfortable and let's progress a little bit here with our flexibility. So first of all, if you have a wall or a chair or something that you can hold on to, we're going to start with a stretch here for our quads. So holding on to one foot behind your back, very, very gently trying to keep those knees close together and pressing the pelvis forward. Some shoes have got that little hook at the end to help you to get your foot into the shoe, but it also comes as a great little help to hold onto your shoes if you need that assistance. So we're trying to hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds and pressing the pelvis forward. Try not to have that knee pointing out, but actually pushing forward through the hips and getting a nice big stretch there through the quadricep. When you're ready, let's try the other leg, holding on, and again, don't be shy to use the wall for balance if you need that assistance, and again, pressing forward through the quad for a nice big stretch through the quadricep. So this is a really tough start. We're getting the hard one out of the way first, and then we're actually going to be lying down, so make sure that you've got somewhere comfortable that you can lay down. If you need to pause the video, please feel free to do so, and join me on the floor when you're ready. So let's start lying on our back. Take your time to come down. We're going to start with a hamstring stretch here, lifting that leg in towards you. Deep breath, and now we want to really breathe through and exaggerate that stretch. It's important that you keep the leg as straight as possible, so don't bend that knee and pull the leg in. That's not going to do very much for our hamstring. We need to keep it straight. Try to flex the toe down towards you, and then just pulling that leg in. If you've got a tea towel or something you can wrap around the leg to help you, that's a great idea too. So having a nice big stretch here for the hammy and the calf. Other leg when you're ready, up straight and pull it in towards you. Deep breaths. And breathe through and keep going with that one a little bit longer. And let's turn it into a glute stretch, placing your ankle on your knee. I'm going to do this leg first here so you can see what's happening. Pulling the leg in toward the body, bringing that leg as close as you can in, and you should feel that stretch there through the glutes. So again, taking some deep breaths, stretching it out, and really trying to hold these stretches. We're really wanting to challenge our flexibility, so holding the stretches for at least 20 to 30 seconds. Deep breath, and other leg when you're ready. Ankle on the knee and pull it in. Whatever you can do to get that leg in closer to you, holding the back of the thigh, holding the knee or that whole foot, but put a little bit of pressure into it so that you feel the exaggeration of the stretch. All right, let's focus on our spine, our thoracic spine, our mid to lower spine. We're going to drop one leg down and lift one leg up to the sky. Use the opposite hand to grab that knee and gently pull it over. Some of you might get stuck around here, and that's okay. As long as you're relaxed and you can feel a nice stretch. Again, if you feel any pain, stop. Some of you might be able to get all the way across. So just go as far as your body will let you go, and deep breaths through that. And as I said, over the coming weeks, you should feel that progress as you're able to get a little bit further each time. So chipping away each week and back to neutral. So just make sure that you don't rush this one. Come back to your neutral position. Lifting the other knee up, arm across, and pulling over the body. So it's the opposite hand on the knee. You might get a few little clicks or pops through the spine, little pockets of air that have built up that need to release. And breathing through that one there. All right, when you're ready, let's sit up slowly. So please take your time to sit up. And again, please pause the video if you need to. We're going to start with our legs out in front. And similar to what we did at the very beginning where we were standing up, we're going to try to reach out toward our toes. So again, take note, how close can you get toward your toes? Take a deep breath in, breathing out, and stretch. Some of you might get halfway down the shins or toward your ankles. Some of you might get to your toes. Some of you might be able to grab your toes. Again, the most important thing is that you keep the back of your legs straight. So don't let those knees come up at all. If you end up just being in this position, that's fine. If you're feeling the stretch just by sitting upright and pushing your body forward, then that's totally fine, that's great. You can progress from here week after week. You can just keep challenging yourself to get a little bit further each time. So again, let's relax and try that one more time. Chest up, in the hips, we're going to tilt forward and grab a hold of those legs and stretch it out. Again, holding it for at least 15 to 20, maybe even 25, 30 seconds. If you've given up, try it one more time. It's a really important stretch here. All of this is connected through the back of the legs into your lower back. So if that is all tight, no wonder there's going to be some back issues. So making sure that you're stretching out regularly. All right, let's change our position here. We're going to bring our feet together. So we're going to bring our knees out and our feet together. It is not a movement that we do very much, so this will be tight for most people. What I want you to try and think about here is that you're getting a bit of pressure into the knees. So it's not just about pulling your body forward, but it's actually about getting those knees down. So you need to just apply a little bit of pressure, not too much because it will be quite tight through that groin hip area. Place your hands in front, elbows on the knees, and very gently pushing forward. Taking some deep breaths so that you can stretch out through that groin. Deep breaths there. You might want to have a little rest, a little break, and then try one more time. Elbows onto the knees and pushing down. Deep breaths. Before we come up onto the knees, we'll do one more here for our spine, our thoracic spine, and our glutes again. So taking one foot up and over the knee, we're going to bring our elbow, if we can, over this knee and try to turn the body. Now for some of you that might be a little bit too much. So just grab the knee and pull it close towards you and turn away from the knee. So it's my opposite side is coming in and I'm turning away and stretching out through the glute. Nice big stretch there. You should feel that through the glute here, and you should feel it in your back as you twist and turn. All right, let's drop those feet down. Bring the other foot up and over, and if you can, get that elbow over the knee and twist and turn and stretch. Well done. Now we're going to get into one of my favorite stretches. This is a really important one for those who sit at a desk a lot. Our hip flexors get really tight. So when you're in your seated position, this little muscle here, the hip flexor, goes from about here to here, gets really, really tight from just being crumpled all day long. So the hip flexor stretch, we're going to place, you might want to have the wall next to you or a chair or something that you can hold on to assist you with your balance. We're going to place one leg out in front, and what I need you to make sure of is that you have your foot quite far in front, because if your foot is too close to the body, you're going to find it a lot harder to balance. Also putting a bit of pressure in the knee that we don't really want to do. So keep that foot out in front, very gently pressing the pelvis forward, And then we're going to raise the opposite hand to the knee up toward the ceiling. Now I've got my left knee forward, so I'm going to lean to my left. Lifting this muscle up, that hip flexor muscle up and over for a big, big stretch here. Deep breaths, reaching up and over. And release. We'll come back to this one, so let's do the other leg. I'll do that facing you. And feet are pointing forward like tram tracks or train lines. Try not to have your foot out wide or tucked in behind you, but just straight in line, reaching up toward the ceiling and over for a big hip flexor stretch there. So it's the opposite side. I'm leaning over toward my front leg. Pushing through and breathing through. Ooh, that is a good stretch. I really hope that you can feel that. That's a really, really important one. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it now, so just take your time with this next one. We're going to go back to the first leg again. And this time what I'm going to get you to do is actually sink into it. So just remember that that knee still isn't going forward. I've got a really big step forward. If my foot's too close, I'm not going to be able to stretch that hip flexor. So a big step forward and then sinking down, and I'm going to try and take the back knee even further. So you do what you're comfortable with, but trying to get into that hip flexor there as I sink down. Now I'm actually going to walk my hands around. So see how you go with that. And still trying to press my hip down to get into that quad and hip flexor. Really, really deep stretch. If this is too much for you, then take a break and you can just go back to that initial position that we had there for the hip flexor stretch. So if you can push into it a little bit deeper, open up through the groin, hip flexor and quad. And release. Changing legs. Again, big step forward and sinking into it. Take that back knee back a little bit more and stretch out through the hip flexor there again. And bring your hands through the center. I've almost got a little bit of pressure in my knee here as well to try and open up even more. Brilliant. And with 3 minutes on the clock, let's change legs one more time, and I'm just going to show you how from this hip flexor position we can stretch our hamstring again. So the heel is going to go down. I'm going to find my balance. Now instead of hunching over to try and reach my toe, I'm actually going to just bend at my hips. So I'm going to feel that straight away from having my chest up. That hamstring right down the back here is really tight, and I'm going to feel that straight away. It doesn't take much at all to get that stretch happening. So deep into that hammy. Go as far as you can. You might only be able to reach past your knee. Again, you need to balance and the toes flexed in towards you for a nice big hamstring and calf stretch there. All right, let's try the other leg. Last one before we get up. Heel is down, chest is up, and again, try not to hunch over, just bending through the hips as you tilt forward and feeling that stretch through the calf and the hamstring. Taking a big breath in and out. And then notice how when you breathe out, you can actually stretch that a little bit further. Beautiful stretch. Great work, everybody. All right. Coming up nice and slow. Take your time, please. If you do have a tabletop or a chair next to you that you can hold on to here, we're going to sit back like you're about to sit on a motorbike, and we're going to stretch our arms out to get a big lat stretch. So holding on, sitting back, reaching out and actually pulling, having a little wiggle, stretching out through your back. It's a really nice one there, and coming up, and you can try that one more time. So holding on to the back of the chair, I might just hold on to this to feel that a bit more. So I've got to really pull back, like I'm gonna sit back and stretch out, rocking from side to side. Beautiful big back stretch there, sinking down, and wiggle, 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 and finish off your stretch there. All right, so let's see how far we've come now in those 15 minutes. Have you progressed at all? And if not, it's okay, because if you keep practicing this in the coming weeks, you definitely will. But you should see a little bit of progress now as you come down into that big stretch that we did at the very beginning. Oh, I can definitely feel a difference now. My muscles have stretched out, and I hope that you can too. Deep breaths and release, coming up slowly. And let's try that one more time. Roll the shoulders back, have a gentle twist from side to side, and coming down one more time. And coming up. I hope that you feel the difference. Well done on getting through those 15 minutes, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you're feeling more flexible. Well done, and see you again soon.